So many of you retro game fans may be familiar with this. It's the Dreamcast's VMU. It's a clock, it's a memory card, and it plays games too. But did you know Sony made their own device just like it? This is the Sony PocketStation. So first, some quick background on this device. In early 1999, around 6 months after the release of the VMU, Sony released their own PDA memory card hybrid. It was very similar to the VMU, single color screen, multiple buttons, multiplayer support, and the ability to access the memory card for the system. This device would only support PS1 games, even with the PS2 just about a year away. So with a shorter lifespan and a Japan-only release, you'd think that only a few games would support this. But I was actually surprised to see the PocketStation's library far exceeds that of the VMU. Aside from the number of supported titles, there are some other major differences between the VMU and the PocketStation. For example, while the VMU limits you to just one application or game at a time, the PocketStation allows you to store as many as you want. But the trade-off is, all the games and apps are stored directly to your memory card, so they will use up your blocks. So if you plan on saving a bunch of PS1 games, I suggest having a separate memory card for that. The Dreamcast was clearly designed for the VMU. Games can communicate with it directly, and it can be used as a separate display for graphics, stats, or whatever the programmers wanted. Unfortunately, the PocketStation seems to be more of an afterthought. The only methods of communication developers had were saving, loading, and transferring games. So now let's take a quick look at the PocketStation's interface. You get 5 buttons, basically 4 directional buttons and a confirm button. You'd lift at the front in order to connect the device to your PlayStation, and under the panel you'll find a hidden reset button. This won't clear any of your save files, but it will reset the clock, and it can help you if any of your games crash. This is the main screen, and you'll have 2 main views to switch between. One that shows the date and the alarm, we'll call this clock view, and a second one that shows your used blocks in the bottom left, we'll call this data view. From either view, you can press left or right to scroll through your list of games. From data view, you can press and hold the up key to adjust the system's volume. You can toggle it between high, low, and mute. If you press and hold the down key, you can see what saves are stored on your PocketStation, or at least 1-bit versions of the save icons. Unfortunately, you can't delete items from here, but it's still a neat addition. And from clock view, you can press and hold up to adjust the time and date. When adjusting, you press up and down to adjust the value, and left and right to move to the next number. You can press and hold down to adjust the alarm. The first thing will be to turn the alarm on and off. You can press up and down to toggle this. Then you can press right to adjust the alarm time. Now, some of you may be wondering, how do you actually get the minigames on this device? Well, first you need a compatible PS1 title. Then you need to figure out how your PlayStation game actually distributes the minigames. With some games you can simply go into the options menu and you'll find an option to download the minigame. Some other games require you to complete some form of task in order to be given the option to download the game. And lastly, some PlayStation games will have a dedicated section in your in-game menu that's only accessible if you have a PocketStation. The PocketStation itself is not region locked, so if you want to just have one to save all your PS1 games on it, that would be fine. However, just about all the games that support it are region locked. Even games like Spyro 2 had all the PocketStation features removed for the USA release. The only USA game I could find with PocketStation support was Final Fantasy VIII. It may take a little while for your game to download, but once it's done, you're ready to play. From what I've seen, there are 3 main game styles. First are the idle games, kind of like this, where the games mostly play themselves with very little user input. Second, there are mini games like Pocket Ray, where you have full control over the game. And third, there are hybrid games, where you have some control, but it's generally over one small section of the game, and it's mainly just a grind to unlock stuff for the idle portion of the game. The actual purpose of these games can vary too. Some games like Ray Crisis have their PocketStation game as just a way to experience a trimmed down version of their game on the go, while others like Chocobo World actually let you level up your in-game monsters. And games like Metal Gear Integral are used to unlock an extra game mode. Metal Gear Integral is one of the few multiplayer-only titles. There's not really any gameplay, but you can transfer the title you got from finishing Metal Gear Solid with other PocketStation players. And if you have enough transfers, you can unlock the Ninja Mode VR missions. Some games such as Pocket Rock 3 even have multiple mini-games in a single download. No wonder it takes up 13 blocks, or almost 90% of your total card space. If you ever get tired of a game, you can simply just press and hold confirm to bring up the quick exit menu. Now, if you plan to play a lot of larger games like this, it may be a hassle to re-download them every time. Luckily, since the games are stored in the exact same way that save files are, you can copy the game data to any PS1 memory card, or even a much larger PS2 memory card. This way you'll have a quick and easy way to swap games if you get bored of one. As with many older game systems, there's actually a homebrew scene for the PocketStation. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of content, and some of it just seems to be simple tech demos, but there are a few things worth checking out. For example, there's a save manager so you can delete your PS1 saves on the go, and there's also a side-scrolling shooter game that actually plays better than Pocket Ray. There are other projects too, like Doom and a DDR clone, but unfortunately I couldn't get them to run. And also, someone turned their PocketStation to a two-factor authentication device for Gmail. Since all this homebrew was never officially released, it's a bit harder to get those applications loaded on your PocketStation. The easiest way requires a modded PlayStation 1 or 2. With this PocketStation transfer tool, you can easily load any game or app you'd like onto your PocketStation. If you don't have a modded console, you can still pick up a modded PS2 memory card. With that, you can transfer any RAW files to the PocketStation, or even back up your PocketStation games to your computer. Unfortunately, Sony would never release a successor to the PocketStation. The PS2 was able to read it, but there's no way to use it on the PS3 or any later home consoles. But it was not forgotten. In late 2013, Sony of Japan created a PocketStation emulator for the PS Vita. And this was not just for decoration, all PocketStation compatible games on Japanese PSN were made to work with it. With this, a whole new generation was able to experience the PocketStation for the very first time. And since PS Vitas are region-free, anyone with a Japanese PSN account could give it a try. But the big downside is, you can only have one PSN account on a Vita at a time, so sadly you can't use this emulator with a USA version of Final Fantasy VIII. But it's still nice to see that Sony has not forgotten about their first PlayStation handheld. So all in all, it's a really cool device, and I don't regret buying it for a second. But getting up and running is quite the investment. You'll need to import a bunch of Japanese games, you'll need a system that can run them, you'll have to figure out how to unlock the minigame for each title. It takes a bit of time and money to get everything set up. So for those of you already interested in collecting Japanese PlayStation games, I say go ahead and pick this up. But for everyone else, it's pretty much just a fancy memory card. Alright guys, well that's it for this video. I had a lot of fun making this. I'd love to pick up more PocketStation compatible games for a follow-up video, and maybe I'll even get Doom working. If you know anyone who may be interested in the PocketStation, just go ahead and send them this video. Hopefully it should cover most of their questions. Anyway, thanks for watching, I'll see you all next time, bye.